Ted Cruz, he did well. He and Marco Rubio, the two stars of last night's CNBC debate. Well, the CNBC panel, I guess they were a star too, but for different reasons. Ted Cruz decided to launch a missile at the CNBC panel, slamming their questions. Here's what Cruz had to say.
At the outset, the questions that asked so far in this debate illustrate why the American people don't trust the media. This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign? Jeb Bush, why have your numbers fallen? How about talking about the substantive issues people care about?
Does this count? Do we get credit for this one?
And Carl, I'm not finished yet. The contrast with the Democratic debate, where every fawning question from the media was, which of you is more handsome and wise?
So this is a question about the debt limit, which you have 30 seconds left to answer, should you choose to do so.
Let me be clear. The men and women on this stage have more ideas, more experience, more common sense than every participant in the Democratic debate. That debate reflected a debate between the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks. And nobody watching at home believes that any of the moderators has any intention of voting in a Republican primary. The questions that are being asked shouldn't be trying to get people to tear into each other. It should be, what are your substantive solutions to people who are hurting?
Ted Cruz going after the CNBC panel. By the way, that exchange, he didn't talk about the debt limit. He was supposed to talk about the debt limit. And they were very upset that he didn't talk about the debt limit. They started ignoring Ted Cruz after that. They were not happy with Ted. But after Ted Cruz went full Newt Gingrich, and that's what it was. You know, Ted Cruz, he channeled Newt. Remember, that's what, whenever Newt started slapping around the media back during the primary in 2011, people loved him. Voters loved Newt. And that's what Ted Cruz did. Yes, he went full Newt. Gingrich was probably watching the debate going, good job. That's Ted. There you go. You learned from Newt. And it was the highest dial test ever, according to Frank Lutz, who had the, little dial test group where the higher you go, I think 100 is the highest. I think Ted Cruz hit 98. Very impressive. And he picked a good time to do it, because by the time Ted Cruz, and by the way, this was after the Rubio exchange, after the Bush-Rubio exchange. This is maybe an hour into the debate, maybe a little bit less than an hour into the debate. All the questions were just terrible. The first question of the Donald Trump, and you heard Cruz bring it up, was, come on, Donald, isn't this just a comic book presidential campaign? That's the first question. To the guy leading. Not the guy leading for the last 2 weeks, not the guy leading for the last week, the guy leading for the last 108 days. Maybe 110 days. I don't know. And they don't want to take him seriously. Donald Trump last night, and I'm not on the Trump bandwagon, that was his best debate. Period. He didn't say anything stupid. He sounded reasonable. He had good points when he was asked a question. He didn't try to jump into any discussion. He was a real Donald Trump has improved every single week in this presidential campaign. He has become a better candidate every single week. And in every single debate, he has done better. We've only had 3. But just watch. I bet the next debate here in a couple of weeks, he will have a great performance. Jody said that Trump's accepted he has to shut up sometimes. Yes. Trump has realized, look, some of these guys are going to hang themselves. I don't have to do it. I mean, it was just a good performance by Cruz, good performance by Rubio, and Cruz, man, he really hit it out of the park on that one. And at that point, from that point forward, it was open season on the panel. It was open season on the CNBC panel.